Welcome everyone. Today we're going to be talking about reflection. It is the number one on our series of 4. So it's reflection, commitment, protection, and expansion. Reflection, looking back when you're going through a journey, when we're talking about going to the other side, building your own bridge, we have to reflect back. Why? To ensure we're not making the same mistakes we made before. I know it's kind of difficult to look back because you've worked so hard to move forward, but looking back, to your credit, allows you to modify, alter what you need to do in order to move forward. Build your own bridge to success, and that's going to be different for every single person. So this series, we're going to start with some questions. I'd like for you to take a moment to sit down, ask yourself these questions. The first question in the series of reflection, am I comfortable with being alone? I'm going to take a moment to pause. Am I comfortable with being alone? Being with yourself. Now, for some, it may sound as though it's a simple question to answer. You say yes, and perhaps yes, but for how long? See, ladies and gentlemen, when we are taking that time to reflect, it must be done when you're in that moment of silence. Sitting alone, I don't care where you are. You could be in your home, in your bedroom. You could be walking, sitting in the park, sitting in your car, just taking that moment in time to say, am I comfortable with being alone with myself? To be able to think my thoughts without interruption. To be honest with the answers as you're going through that thought process. To reflect on how you have made decisions. Now, I know you may say to yourself, I sit alone a lot. I'm always by myself when I'm in the bathroom. But I'm asking you to do it a little differently. Am I comfortable with being alone with myself and hearing my thoughts and listening to the words that will move you forward, not backwards, even though this is reflection, taking a step back, to look back, to move forward, in order not to make the same mistakes. Being alone, sometimes it's a wonderful feeling because you have an opportunity to breathe and not hear the voice of anyone else. To be comfortable with the sound of your own voice. Sometimes people will say to me, I don't like the sound of my voice. Well, get comfortable with it. It is yours. We can manipulate it when we want to. But when we're answering those questions, you want it to be in a very soft tone. However, punctuating every single word in your response. Am I comfortable with myself? Am I comfortable being alone? That's the first question. Now, how many times should you go through this process? Recommendation, 3 times a day. The moment you wake up, gracing the earth with your presence, saying, I have been alone and now I'm ready to embark on the public, to expose myself. The second time I want you to ask the question is during the hustle and bustle of the midday, between 12 and 2. Am I still comfortable thinking about moving forward? Am I able to focus my attention on where I want to be? And then the third time, at the close of your day, have I been able to go through the process from beginning to middle to the end of my day, feeling comfortable with myself in those silent moments where you're thinking about pushing forward, completing a project, introducing yourself to someone new, stepping out of your comfort zone? Are you comfortable with that? because you may be doing it alone. We sit, we ponder, we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. However, if we take that moment in time to say to ourselves, in order for me to break through those barriers and those boundaries, I must be comfortable with myself. And in that moment of silence, you're going to answer that question. I know I have, which is why I'm bringing it to our first video of the series, Reflection, taking a look back. Now, we talked about 3 times a day, morning when you first wake up, during the hustle and bustle of your day, and at the end, listening to those moments, the words that you speak silently. Remember, no one is writing your script. You're writing your own script. It's about being comfortable. Now, reflection. Take a moment right now, ladies and gentlemen, and close your eyes and see yourself walking through your day, morning, midday, close of your day. As you get to the close of your day, I want you to repeat it. To see any differences in the pictures that you have formulated in your mind's eye. How are you walking through the day? Are you cheerful, are you excited? Or is there fear, anguish? Now I want you to do it the 3rd time with confidence. I am walking through my day. I'm walking in the morning. I am strong and vibrant during the afternoon. At the close of my day, I am exhausted. However, I made a difference. I made a difference in how I felt, because it is about feeling. How I felt as I navigated my day, reflecting on what I did last hour, the last 2 hours, the last 3 hours. But it starts with every single morning, getting into the routine, having a purpose and a focus for your life. That's what we need to do, reflecting on that purpose and being confident that you're going to get to the end of that bridge to start again. Open your eyes, take a deep breath, understand that this is just the start of your day. Question number 2. Am I a person who enjoys feeling good? Yep, I did say that. Ask yourself, are you comfortable with feeling good? To be happy? It may sound simple, just as the previous question, am I comfortable with being alone? But being happy with all that we go through in the course of our day, to be able to smile, that smile turning into laughter, that laughter being more robust as you go through your day, and finding those people who allow you to feel comfortable. When we surround ourselves with others, what is it that they're bringing into your environment? Reflect on that. Are you bringing someone into that environment who is full of negativity? Or are you bringing individuals into your environment that support you, even though you're going through the challenges, that you feel good as they support you, laughing all the way, chuckling? Ladies and gentlemen, even think about this. Have you been alone with yourself and all of a sudden you burst out in laughter? That means somewhere, some thought caused you to be happy. And yes, that is the way we should feel. Happy. Am I comfortable with being excited and laughing? Laughing at ourselves. You've made mistakes. You've misplaced things. And all of a sudden they're right there, right in front of you. And you couldn't see it because sometimes we overlook things. And then you have to laugh at yourself. Absolutely. The joy of having your abdominal muscles contracted in such a manner you can't control yourself. Think about those individuals that you've been around where you had this funny story or something happened and you just burst into laughter, and your laughter then caused you to tear because you're so happy. It is okay to feel that way as we build our own bridge to our success. The joy of the journey, the excitement of the journey, the believability of that journey. Only you can create that. I know sometimes I am tired, dead tired to the world. I make sure before I go to bed, I look or read something funny because I want to break myself out of that habit of misery and anger. And yes, laughing. It soothes the soul, as we know. It allows us to be vulnerable. And when you're laughing so uncontrollably, you are being vulnerable to the fact that you are human, even though we've gone through the mistakes of our day, mistakes of relationship. Reflect back to that moment in time where you felt good. And feeling good is a good feeling, not one to be ashamed of. Happiness is a good feeling. Think about it. You come to work and you're excited, and people will say, well, why are you so happy? Because I want to be. Isn't that exciting? Because I want to be. Yes, we are going to work, but I'm excited because I want to be, reflecting on the moment that throughout my day I am going to have challenges and conflict, to be able to move through that. But remember, at the close of your day, you want to take a relaxed person to bed, a person who is full of joy and happiness. And even if you are alone, it is okay. And when you are with a partner, it's okay, because you want to be in sync so you can get those 7 or 8 hours of sleep, knowing that you're going to enjoy it, waking up in the morning to start that wonderful journey again, reflecting each and every day. So what are you going to do differently? You're going to own your excitement. You're going to own your laughter. You are going to be very particular about the people you bring into your circle. Are they worthy of being there? These are just 2 of the questions today. And again, being comfortable with yourself is about self-discovery, and finding your happiness is about vulnerability. That's our discussion today. Stay tuned for our next episode, which is about commitment. Welcome to our next module. We're going to be talking about commitment. Yes, that word. That word sometimes sends just chills up and down your spine. Commitment. Everyone truly believes that commitment is forever. But we can modify our commitment depending on where we are in life, and where we're going. And this is about building your own bridge to ensure that you have made commitments that you will stick with over a period of time. And the first question I'm going to ask you is, are you as healthy as you need to be? And that's a commitment with an exclamation point at the end. Are you as healthy as you need to be? So let's look at the healthiness list. Are you healthy mentally, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically? Are you committed? Are you committed to overall health and the abundance of health in every single area? Physical, mental, intellectual, emotion, spiritually committed. Now, what does that really mean? It's setting your sights, having your POA, your plan of action, and sticking to it. So let's just talk about just physical health, that which we can all do as much as we can do, depending on your ability to physically. So you've heard it many times, getting enough sleep. Some individuals may need 8 hours, some may need 7 hours, some may need 6. What is your need? And that need will change depending upon your day's activities. Sometimes we need more sleep, especially if we're going to have a hectic day, moving in and out, indoor, outdoor, traveling, flying, driving, healthy. So that sleep is going to put us on the right road in order to complete our tasks. Sleeping is something that we must treasure. It's how we refuel and how we refresh. That sleep cannot be interrupted. You want to make sure that you get enough. And ladies and gentlemen, let me let you know that you can't catch up on it. You have 24 hours in each day, 1,440 minutes in each day, 86,400 seconds in each day. So decide how much you need so that when you rise in the morning, you're ready to go. You rise in the morning ready to go. Not thinking about getting ready to go when that biological alarm or that artificial alarm, your clock goes off. Get up. You're ready to go. Put your feet down and say, I'm thankful for this opportunity. I'm healthy enough to be there, because we don't want to drag through our day. If you start your day off dragging, once you get inside the workplace, you're going to be inundated with many more challenges and tasks. You don't want to start the day out dragging. You want to make sure you start it out full of energy so that at the end of the day, you're still able to walk tall to your car. That's what I mean, that healthy. Am I as healthy as I need to be? So we talk about sleep. Let's talk about nutrition. You got to eat, yes? But what are those foods that you're putting into your body? The food, every single morsel that you eat is going to impact your entire energy. So you're going to have to do some inventory taking. What does that mean? You're going to go through your cupboards. You're going to look at, do you have those energy nuggets to push you forward or that energy nugget to pull you back? Yes, the foods that we eat, the beverages that we drink, the fruits, can we be a bit more diligent? Now, I'm not saying you can't have a good time, because we always want to have a good time. Going out with our friends, we're going to celebrate, we're going to eat. But it's not eating too much, overeating, knowing when to push back. You've heard that. So that you can have room to move and still make it through the course of your day. So yes, go to your refrigerator right now. Take a pen and pencil with you and jot down those items that you're going to trash. Yes, get rid of. I know you're not going to want to do it, but think about it. Go to your refrigerator next. Trash. Even those items that you've hidden behind something so nobody else would find them, but you know that they're there. And when you get up in the middle of the night, you sneak to that. We're not doing that anymore. We're going to be committed to our health. Sleep, foods. Now I'm going to talk about the big E. Yes, the big E, exercise. You got to do it. Now everybody thinks you need to go to a gym. You don't have to go to a gym. Your entire house can be your own gym. You can walk around in circles. You can sit on the floor and do some sit-ups and push-ups. Yes, I did say that. And if your floor is hard, like I have hardwood floors, you go get a mat, one of those nice thick ones, and you get down there and enjoy that moment. That's why it's called Build Your Bridge. If you want to lose 10 pounds, you've got to do that. You've got to get the act going. You got chairs. Yes, you do have chairs. You can sit in front of that chair and get those arms ready. Push-ups on those chairs. You got a wall in your house? Do some squats. Stand with your back to the wall. Bend those knees and go up and down. See, we don't have to invest a lot of money into doing the right thing. We have everything that we need at home. It's just utilizing those furniture pieces. Yes, aesthetically they look beautiful, but they can be your equipment to building your bridge to a healthier you. Am I as healthy as I want to be? I know you're probably thinking, man, she's going to have me working. Absolutely. If I'm going to work, you're going to work. I love being here. I love working. I love sharing these little nuggets because someone shared them with me. And each day I'm moving forward. As those years seem to move faster and faster, you got to exercise a little more each and every day. You wake up in the morning, say, I'm ready. All right, so we got a healthy forecast, a healthy plan, a healthy path. So are you as healthy as you want to be? You can be, if you want to be. That's just question number one. Question number one. Now, let's go to question number two. If you could take your 10-year-old self back in time, looking at where you are today, would you say then you're on that road to being healthy? And I'm talking about the physical health. We'll get into some other things later on. But when we are younger, don't we just eat anything? Just anything that we want. We don't even think about calories and pounds. We're just doing that. But remember, when we're younger, it's building a habit to how we're going to behave when we're older. You know that. how we're going to behave when we're older. We don't want to do those negative things because as we grow older, it's much more difficult to break a habit. So if you enjoy snacking a lot on those things that you should not snack on, get rid of them. If you are drinking beverages that are not going to be healthy for you, get rid of them. Now, I'm not saying you have to get rid of everything. Everything's in moderation. Even exercise in moderation. Even sleep in moderation, as we talked about in that first question. We must exercise some restraint. Now, again, restraint. Holding back so that it does not become a negative habit. So your 10-year-old self, you're saying to yourself, am I building the right habits in order for me to make a better commitment to the health and well-being of my life? And if I have not started on the right track, is it too late? Is it too late to start now? And it is absolutely not, ladies and gentlemen. It is not too late. The only thing that prevents us from beginning is ourselves. Just ourselves. No one else. No more excuses. Feeling healthy is feeling good. Remember in our original module, reflection, I talk about having a good time. Being healthy is a good time. You have more energy to laugh. Being healthy is about owning yourself and understanding you are walking the right path to the commitment to the quality of your life. Thank you. We have had two wonderful components in our series of 4. We've talked about reflection, we've talked about commitment, and module 3 is about protection. Protecting ourselves, being our own advocate, regardless of what it is, and being confident that you will always have your best interest in mind. And that's going to take a lot of work because sometimes we really don't know what our interests are and who should I be fearful of. Protection. So here's the first question that I'd like for you to sit down and really think about. Do I know all of the peculiar things about myself? That's number 1. And am I living the life for someone else rather than for myself? Okay, just take a moment and step back. Understanding that everyone has their idiosyncrasies, the peculiar things about us, and sometimes we get too comfortable not acknowledging it, which means it will then allow someone to take ownership of your life and you begin living your life for someone else as opposed to living your life for yourself. Now, I know that's a lot right there, and I know it can be a bit scary. When we live our lives for someone else, what happens is they have a tendency to pick up on our idiosyncrasies, our less than confident selves. And in knowing that, may tend to monopolize you in an unhealthy way. Remember we talked in our last module about really committing to being healthy? And I talked about the physical component and emotional. So when we talk about living our lives for someone else, we are empowering them. And what happens? We disempowered ourselves from even thinking about what's healthy for you. Am I allowing someone else to control my life? That's the bottom line. And when we do allow someone else to control our lives, they may not have our best interest at heart. That's a lot to think about, because sometimes we may be emotionally entangled in that, calling it love, and not able to see beyond that to a reality that truly demonstrates you're not as healthy as you think you are, and you're living your life for someone else, which definitely means you're not healthy. Individuals think they know what's best for you, which is why I asked, do you know your peculiarities, your idiosyncrasies, your uncomfortableness? Because when we know it, we can best protect it and not allow it to spill over into what we're doing. To find the time to correct those things, because sometimes it becomes very, very difficult to see beyond ourselves, to see beyond. And what I'm asking you is to take that moment in time, do an out of body, and look in that mirror and say, am I living my life for the goals that I have set for myself in order to be happy? Because that's what BYOB, Build Your Own Bridge, is about. Being happy, getting to the other side of what that means. Success in our home lives, our personal lives, our work lives. But we have to be comfortable that we're not going to be perfect. And being perfect, no one is able to reach that height. It's being effective. Being effective today, being effective tomorrow and into the future. And that's why we talk about building their own bridge, building your own bridge to getting that. If you're living your life for someone else and not yourself, you are truly going to be unhappy. And we talked about what happiness means. Being happy, being joyful, being excited. But if we're always living for someone else, we're losing that rich part of us. And it's unnatural to have someone manipulate us for their own purposes is unhealthy. And that's why we talk about reflection, and we talk about commitment, and we talk about protection. Each and every day, you have an opportunity to protect yourself, to guard yourself. To be one with yourself is very important before you become a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or a 5 people in the group. And each individual must be able to stand alone, standing alone and being comfortable, so that when we are with a group, we're even more comfortable. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this. I did have another question, but I don't want to ask that question right now. I want you to ask yourself, what are you willing to do to protect ourselves? Are you willing to have a conversation with someone who may not be in a position to have your best interest at heart? Yes. So I'm going to let that. Are you willing to have a conversation with that person or individuals who are not allowing you to be your best self because you have been manipulated over a period of time? And being manipulated can be hurtful and painful. So yeah, it's about a conversation, and the butterflies are going to come when you sit down and have that conversation, to say to that person, you are not allowing me to live my life. I want to do some things. I want to explore, because our last module in our series is about expansion. You want someone to be there to support you and to say, yes, I understand. You must do this. Protecting ourselves so that we can live the richness of our life. Because at the end of the day, it is your life. At the end of the month, at the end of the year, you want to hold yourself accountable by saying, I chose to make these decisions. I chose to put together my plan of action, and I am going to own those mistakes, those bad decisions. I'm going to do that. Because sometimes protecting ourselves means falling down. So when we fall down, we know that we have to get up. And as we get up, as gingerly as we get up, we know that we're going to have very strong legs to stand and walk that mile or 2 or 3 in our journey, building our own bridge to success. We have had a wonderful discussion today. We started out with reflection. We went next to commitment, protection. This last one is about expansion. And I'm going to use it a little differently, expanding our horizons is what we normally do, but what I'd like to do differently is to really talk about love. Expanding ourselves by asking the question, how do I show love? And how do I want to be loved? How do I show love? And there are books that talk about love and relationships, but how do I show love? When we are comfortable in our own skin and we have found our best self to be in public, exposed to other people, it really starts with, how do I love? By showing how you love yourself. To love yourself. You cannot give what you don't have. So you start by loving yourself and doing all the right things. How do I love myself? Well, taking care of yourself. That's a given in a multitude of ways. How do I love myself? By eliminating negative self-talk and only using positive talk. How do I love myself? Sharing with others. Because when you give through sharing, others will reciprocate. How do I love? Enjoying the moment, staying in the moment, being free to express myself. How do I love? Apologizing is showing that you care enough to apologize when things happen that you hadn't planned for. How do I love? Each time you ask yourself the question, I'd like for you to come up with a different response, because your list should be endless. You should be able to go on and on and on and on. How do I show love? How do I feel love? Love can sometimes be a whisper. And then it could be as loud as an explosion, depending on what it is. But how do I love myself? How do I demonstrate that? How I walk through space and time, how I get dressed, how I comb my hair, how I put on my makeup. Well, gentlemen, you won't be putting on makeup. But how you do all those little things each and every day to show yourself that you are ready to embark on those uncertainties when you leave your door, and listening to those whispers, whether you are driving or on the bus or the plane or the train. How do I show love? And it should be very apparent that anyone who steps into your inner circle will say, she does love herself, she carries herself, or he does love himself. It's how he carries himself. It's the language that he uses. And it is wonderful when you have that aura. So having asked that question and having answered that question, because that is going to be your homework, the next one is, how do you want to be loved? How do you get to that? That person, whomever you bring into your circle, whether friends or intimate individuals, they must be comfortable and demonstrate that they love themselves, because that's the only way that they can be able to come into your circle to love you. How do I want to be loved? So let's just talk about some things. You want honesty. Someone who understands honesty unconditionally, even when they disagree with you, to be honest with you. You want someone to appreciate, to be appreciative of the little things that you do, that they let you know in many different ways. You want that person to also be happy, to know how to throw on a smile or a grin or just burst out in laughter. You want that, because when you ask yourself, how do I want to be loved? You want to bring someone into your circle who is as confident, and even when That person may not be confident, or you may not be confident. You come together and you have a conversation about that, and you correct the wrongs that happen, or the miscommunication, or the idiosyncrasies. That's how you do it. And together you find that one path. You're on that journey together, but that one path where you jointly get to that wonderful other side of the bridge. How do I love? How do I demonstrate it? How do I want to be loved? Is a question that must be asked on the front end of a relationship. It is no different than going on a job interview. You'll say, how can I benefit from this? And the employer is going to say, how can you attribute to our success? It's a joint effort. It's not one or the other. Both together, you sit down and you have a conversation to come up with an agreement. You want to be aligned. You want to be congruent. That's what it is. When we expand our horizons, going beyond ourselves, that's very important, because nobody wants to live alone. Remember it in reflection we talked about, can I be comfortable being alone with myself? Well, yes, you must be that. Now you're ready to venture out into another place and time to be with someone else, to enjoy it. Expanding your horizons, that's what we're talking about. The love of movies, the love of music, the love of walking, the love of writing, the love of everything, exercising, the love of being okay with life's challenges, knowing that even through life's challenges, the many ups and downs, you can find the tribulations. And sometimes those trials allow us to get to the tribulations without going through the trials. We wouldn't know how to appreciate that. And sometimes when you have a misunderstanding with someone, you're airing it. You're getting it out on the surface, so now we can have a conversation and say, well, what are we going to do about it together? I want to make sure that I demonstrate that I love myself and I share it with you, and the same with the other person on the other end. That's how you make a relationship work. And you've got to be all in it. See, that's the other component. When you're loving yourself, you have to be all in it. And when you invite someone into your space, they must be all in it. You cannot straddle that fence, because that's only 50%. You're going to be in it 50%, you're going to be out of it 50%. That is not good, because in any given time, you can take that other 50% and you're gone 100% of that time. So you ask the questions, are you in it? Are you all in? Are you all in to expanding the discomfort, the unknown? Are you all in with what we discover at the end of our conversation, at the end of our challenge? That's what expansion is. You can no longer go back to the original. The strongness of the original, the strength of the original allows you to expand, and you build on that, become stronger. You are never the same person, especially when you get to the other side of that bridge. You're never the same person. You have a different outlook on life, a different outlook on where you're going, and being okay with that. Even if you're not ready yet, you're preparing for that. We want to expand ourselves. I'm going to tell you right now, expansion is a wonderful thing, because now my knowledge base is expanding. My appreciation for others expanding. My realizing that we're not perfect, that we will make mistakes, and understanding that others will make mistakes, and being okay with the desire to grow. Now, the only thing that I want you to do is not bite off too much. We have to take expansion, moving outside of our comfort zone, in increments, small steps at a time, especially when it comes to love. Take the time to appreciate and love yourself, because only then you will be in a position to be loved. Thank you.